Welcome to the Platform Pulse, our quarterly product series, where we go behind the scenes with the Applitools team to explore what's new, what's next, and how our products are evolving. I'm Tim Hines, and I'll be your host for today's session. I'm joined today by three of my colleagues, Kate Cato, Yanover, and Brandon Murray. Kate is our Chief Customer Officer, leading the customer success organization and helping teams around the world maximize value with Applitools. Paz is our Vice President of Product, bringing a deep background in AI, developer platforms, and enterprise testing. He's leading the charge on how we build and scale innovation across the Applitools platform. And Brandon is our Director of Technical Solution Architects. With more than 20 years of software engineering and development experience, he works directly with customers to help them adopt and scale visual AI across their teams. So with that, I will hand it off to Kate to introduce the customer success team.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. So here at Applitools, we're highly invested in our customer success, and that means all parts of the journey. So we have three distinct roles here that every single prospect and client has access to in order to ensure that they've got the best possible solution for their problems. So first is our solutions architect team. So they're assigned to every single customer account, and they can help you with any sort of evaluation of the tool that you'd like. Overall, this team is made up of engineers who have both software development backgrounds as well as QA backgrounds. Together, they've got over 100 years of combined experience. They're responsible for helping onboard, train, and advise you and your team on how to best maximize our solutions, as well as general best practices. Please continue to take advantage of them. Next, we have our support engineers. So this is our 24/5 service. You can message them via ticket or via email anytime, and they're always available to jump on a phone call to make things easier. This is a great resource for any questions that you have or issues that you're seeing to make sure that they're resolved quickly. And then finally, we've got your account executives. These people understand the exact distribution of your organization and make sure that we're connecting you with the proper people on our side to keep you up to date on the products and services as they're being rolled out. They can coordinate conversations with product leadership and everyone else in the organization to make sure we're delivering exactly what you and your team needs to get the most value from our software. Don't be shy. Everyone on this list is client-facing. They love to interact with you and learn more about your services. And with a wealth of technical background, they'll be able to advise you on exactly what you need. Awesome. Back to you, Tim.
So now we'll go into what was recently released in our Eyes 22. So Eyes 22, the theme of this one is bringing visual AI into the tools you already use. Some of the things we released here was a native Storybook add-on, an Applitools Figma plugin, performance optimizations that happen across the entire platform, and then some context-rich dashboard results. So the first of those, test where you build with your Storybook add-on. So with this, we've got an add-on that's in the Storybook add-on listings there. You can add this. There's full instructions in our documentation on how to do this with NPX. So really easy to install. This allows us to run, triage, approve test without leaving your Storybook environment. This reduces context switching, so you can catch issues earlier in the dev cycle and avoid back and forth between Storybook and the Eyes dashboard. Also helps to prevent CI failures, so you can validate changes locally before merging, reducing the risk of broken builds. And as I mentioned about the performance, we did add some performance enhancements with caching so that you won't be re-rendering the results for stories that didn't change in between test runs. And then our Figma plugin bridges the design and code with that. You get a few different ways to go about this. One is design to code validation. So you can export frames directly from Figma into Eyes and then compare them against the implementation. And you can run that with your Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, whatever testing framework you're using there, and compare it to the Figma results. in design to design comparisons, you can compare results. You can compare Figma frames from one iteration to the next iteration. With shared baselines, designers and developers can work with the same source of truth inside Eyes, reducing miscommunication. And then it just tightens up the collaboration so that designers can validate their implementations without writing any code, and then see exactly what developers call done in the interface. There's some changes that we made to the dashboard here to provide more context-rich results. One, the commit SHA and Git branch is now visible within those results. You can quickly trace failing tests back to the specific code changes that were made. The required attention first sorting option has been added so that you'll automatically surface unresolved and failed tests at the top of the batch view. As you can see here in the screenshot, we've got automatic storybook grouping so that Eyes will mirror your storybook structure, making it easier to navigate the results there. And then just streamlining the triage, which reduces the noise from past tests, helping teams zero in on what matters most. And with that, I will hand things off to Brandon here to give a demo.
All right, thanks, Tim. Before we jump into the demo to go over the add-on for Storybook, I wanted to briefly touch on the performance optimizations that Tim mentioned. He mentioned the caching, but one thing that is really exciting is we've actually increased everyone's concurrency when it comes to Storybook by 10x. So huge improvement there. One thing I want to point out in order to enjoy these benefits, number one, you'll want to upgrade to the latest SDK for Storybook. And then number two, any test concurrency settings that you have in your settings, you'll want to remove it. So the SDK will basically grab that setting from the server and use that and maximize the concurrency changes that we've made on the back end there. So just a heads up there, and yeah, so please take advantage of that. That's pretty exciting stuff. So with that, I'm going to move on to the demo for the Storybook add-on. So in order for you to use this add-on, you need to be on Storybook 8.6.14 or greater. Really easy to install, just MVX story add, and then the Applitools Eyes Storybook add-on, real simple, very straightforward. Now, one of the reasons why you would want to use this is typically when you're using Storybook, most of our Storybook customers are, using our GitHub solution, our GitHub integration. And anytime I make changes to Storybook, let's say I'm working on a PR, or maybe I'm just getting started on a new project, I just want to make some changes, see how things look. What I have to do today is I have to make those changes. I have to commit them to a branch. I have to push those, and whether that be just a temporary branch or whether that's a branch for a PR, I would push those to my CI, and then I would run Storybook, get the results back. So the advantage of this add-on is now I can add Applitools checks directly within Storybook on my local machine. So this is a huge value add, because now instead of having to create a PR, maybe what I used to do is I used to create a PR in draft mode, push my changes, then check it, and then once everything was good, I'd make that available for my developers to review my PR. So now with this, I can actually do those changes here locally before I even commit, before I even push it to GitHub, and before I even create a PR. So I know all those changes are what I intend to be. So really nice value add here. So to illustrate this, I'm going to go in and show you a simple Storybook example here. We've got some primary, some buttons, headers, and pages. Very simple project here. I'm going to go ahead and make a change to my primary button. And so I've got all this spin up locally. I'm going to jump over here. And what I'm going to do, just to make things simple, I'm just going to change the background on my primary button to black. I'm going to switch over here. And so we have this run test option here. I got everything integrated. The plugin actually shows up here on the right side. I can put this down here or on the right. for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to leave this over here on the right side. And so if I go ahead and hit run, that's going to go through and it is going to do a visual check on all of my components here. And you can see it's found 8 and it's processing them. Great. Now, just going to expand this so you can see how this works. So number one, if I want to review the results in Eyes, I can do that no problem. Just clicking on this. This will take me to the Eyes dashboard. I also have the ability to download logs. This is helpful if I need to do any troubleshooting and I need to share some information with our support team. Obviously, I can run this here as well as over here. And then we have some other options here. About this plugin, we'll take you to our documentation. We also have this configuration, which is really just the configuration settings that are in your Applitools config.js. We also have the ability to view logs here. And we also have some actions that we can do. So, let's say, for example, I run these tests and I like everything that I see. And obviously, we have a couple, well, we'll talk about that here in just a second. But let's say I want to approve everything in my particular story. I can do that here. I could do it across the entire batch, or I could simply, if I don't like the results of a particular story and I want to reject everything, I can do that. So we have some nice bulk actions here that make approving things a bit easier. So you'll notice over here that I've run the results. I've run the test. I have 3 unresolved, passed. I can filter just by clicking on these buttons. So you'll notice here that we have these little icons. Obviously, the orange icons mean the orange triangle means there's a difference there. So I can click on this, and here's where I can see the results. Right. So I have a side by side. You can see that I changed the primary button from this purple color to black. We can actually see the difference right here, which is highlighted. I have the ability to look at the actual versus the expected. And again, we have that side-by-side that we saw earlier. And we have this slider mechanism where we can look at the differences like that. So if I like this change, again, I can go ahead and approve it right here. I have those bulk options as well. In fact, I'm just going to go over here and look at some of these other changes that I've made. And as you can see, the primary button is showing up here. I can actually look at the difference here. You can see that it's highlighted. And again, I can go and approve all these here. It just makes it really nice to go ahead and validate this before I actually go down the road of creating PR. I can do all this within the context of my local machine here. And one common question that I get is, if you're using our GitHub integration and everything is stored, all your baselines are stored on the master branch, what you can do is you can actually come into config here. And if I go back to the Applitools config, you could actually wire this up so that when you run these tests, we can look what's in your actual master branch in terms of baselines. By default, it just uses the default branch here. Let's see, I'm trying to think of missing anything. And I believe that is it with the Storybook add-on. So, and we're going to save questions for the end. So now I'm going to transition over to the Figma plugin. So here I've got Figma up and running. Just got a simple Google example to illustrate this. The idea around our Figma plugin is it gives us 2 capabilities. Number one, we can actually do design to design compare. So I had a team reach out to me a while ago and said, hey, we really like what you're doing with our QA team when we're doing the visual regressions within our web applications, but we want the same process within our Figma environment, because they had some issues where designs were changed inadvertently, and if they had something like Applitools, they could have caught that before it even reached the developer. So that's the first use case, and the second use case, this is what most people are after, is the ability to compare an implementation to the actual design. So this is like shifting left to the very extreme, right? We're trying to detect these issues before early on in the process. And so what better time to do it when you actually do your design and you initially implement the actual screen. So the Figma plugin is available in the store. You can go get that and install it. I'm going to go ahead and spin things up right now. But before I do that, I did run an example earlier. So the first use case I'm going to show you is the design to design compare. So here I have this Google image. I just uploaded this like 30 minutes ago. And so this is an image or a design, and I'm actually going to make some changes to it. And I'm going to come back here to my Figma plugin. And you'll notice that what I did is I added this this menu icon right here. So now I'm going to go do a design to design compare. So I'm going to come over here and activate the plugin. You can see we have Applitools Eyes here. This brings up this screen, and I'll go through each section here. So the app and batch info, application name and batch name. So application name is what helps identify a baseline. And then the batch name is just the batch name that you would see in Applitools. So when you go to the dashboard, it's where you're naming these over here. So that's what a batch is. So we have the ability to customize that. Connection details, this is just going to be your API key. We've got that masked here. We have some advanced settings as well. So if you're on our private cloud, you would enter those details right here. And then under test configuration, we have a couple options. We have the ability to override the match level. Also, we do have a contrast validation that we can do as part of your design process. So that's supported as well. And then OS name and browser name, those are just more advanced features. We're going to really discuss those right now. And then we also have the ability to auto accept baselines. So if I'm iterating on these changes and I just want to auto accept it, I can turn that on. And then we also have the ability to export these designs as multiple steps. So inside of a test within Applitools, we can have multiple steps. So by default, when I run this command or when I run the Figma integration or the plugin, it will scan all of the top level frames here and try to upload those to Applitools and do a verification. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just focused on this Google Home design. And so I'm going to go ahead and export that to Eyes. And we saw that image that I uploaded before, the previous version of this. So now when I go in, looks like it's still processing it. There we go. Now we can actually see those changes. So I've actually added that menu icon. And I'm happy with this change, so I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Right, so this is a simple example of how a designer can come in and actually validate their own designs as they're iterating on changes within their design system. So I'm going to switch back here to the Figma. And now that I have these designs up there, now I can communicate with my developer, and I can tell them, hey, I've got these designs up here. Go ahead and let's do a compare. Let's just make sure everything looks okay. So as part of the Eyes configuration details here, we output a couple things which is helpful for the developer. Number one is the application name. This is important because the two driving factors to make this work are the application name and the actual test name, along with this baseline name. So what these do is this just forces the comparison to work. So a baseline in Applitools is made up of 5 different properties: app name, test name, browser, viewport, and OS. So we need the app name and the test name to match, and then this baseline name just overrides everything else and just forces the actual compare to happen. So I need that information so I can copy these. If I have a bunch of designs, I can copy a CSV and share that with the developers so they know what's what and they can map things together to make that comparison happen. So I am going to come over here and I'm going to copy this. I think I have everything wired up properly, but just want to make sure here. So I have a simple Java Selenium example. And I copied a couple parameters. Number one was the actual test name. I have that here. I already have Google App. Let me just make sure that Google App is the application name. And wrong window. Let me switch back here. So I got the app name and the test name, all that's good. Viewport size will have to match up as well. And this is really important right here. The second property is called a baseline environment name. Again, this is what's going to force the overriding of those remaining three parameters, browser, OS, and well, really browser and OS, and force that comparison to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and now run this. And this is just going out to Google, grabbing a screenshot. And that's it. So now let's go check out our results. Come over here. Looks like it's still running here. Give it just a second, and there we go. So looking at this, there are some differences here. And this is what we typically see with folks doing design to implementation comparison. Oftentimes the design or the implementation well, doesn't match the design. And this is what we see a lot of, and we have a couple ways we can do this. Number one, what a lot of teams use this for is really just a nice way to come in and collaborate between design and implement in the development team to make sure things are correct, or maybe they need to talk about different things. You have the ability to add remarks and communicate within Applitools on any changes or unexpected things. We can collaborate through Applitools to do this. But what I can do here is I can actually come in and show you. So you can see here the differences, which we have a lot of them, right? And you might be wondering, okay, well, why is this different? And this is what we typically see. So obviously the sign in button is now rounded instead of squared with the rounded corners. Looks like we got some different fonts over here, some spacing issues. Even down here, looks like the AI mode has a thing around it, whereas in the baseline it doesn't. And actually down here, we're actually missing this section. So obviously those get highlighted here. Even this shifting of buttons, right? This is what we typically see. Not everything matches 100%. So these will typically fail, but it's a great solution to actually come in and verify these things. We also have the ability to toggle back and forth between different algorithms. So while it might be okay with some of that movement happening, really what I want to do is validate that everything is there. And from a structural, from a layout perspective, everything looks correct. Like all the elements are where they need to be, generally speaking. And I just want to do a simple check on that. Things look much better, right? So we're allowing some of those differences, but anything major, like for example, this section actually disappearing, we actually catch that. So a lot of our customers use a combination of both approaches. But at the end of the day, it's where what a lot of people use it for is the ability to come in here, view the differences, collaborate with design and your development team to make sure that what you have produced actually matches the design, at least close enough to where both parties are happy. And yeah, that's it with the Figma plugin.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. So we're going to move on to what's next, and I'll hand things off to Paz to present some of the roadmap items.
Great. Thank you, Tim. So actually, as you guess, we keep working and keep thinking about the next great initiatives and next great features for you. So I'm going to review a few of such a major eyes feature. The first one is about grouping differences by type. So the idea is to classify differences like font changes, layout shifts, and content alterations. And the idea actually for now, we have the ability to do the same and group diffs and apply auto maintenance on visual differences, identical visual differences. And we plan to actually extend it and to be able also to look at the DOM itself and be able to identify differences by specific types. So for example, if you are a developer and you have you create a new branch in order to work on a specific ticket, for example, to change the font family of multiple pages from X to Y. When running eyes on this branch, we will be able to identify this change and actually group all the changes that you actually plan to do and group them together so you can you can perform a bulk operation over all these steps, and just accept all or reject all, while the idea is to streamline the review process and reduce maintenance effort dramatically. As part of this feature, we're going later on to also add the integration with the auto accept and reject, so to apply auto maintenance according to the groups of types. And this one is very exciting, and I think it's a great feature we're going to have. Another feature that we're working on is the NLP steps in SDKs. We plan to use plain English to define elements in your code. So at runtime, definition will be translated into a deterministic way of the appropriate element. So if, for example, we have here a simple example of eyes.nlp OK button. So instead of working with locators, which as you know, the maintenance of locator is very hard and the hassle is big. So instead of maintaining it, the locators, which actually change a lot, we plan to do it for you. So you can work with the NLP description. We are going in runtime to translate the NLP description into a locator such of the element. So you can work with our definition, with our locators, without knowing the locators themselves. By doing so, actually, we'll be able to write tests faster, to avoid locators hassles, and to keep your code readable. Another interesting feature that we're working on is the MCP server. I guess you're familiar with the term, and the idea is to connect Applitools Eyes with AI and LLM tools, and to enable developers to add, run, and analyze visual tests directly from their IDE with the agent, with the specific model, with the existing native tools. So actually, you will be able to work in your IDE by interacting with your agent, with your LLM, and doing most of the operations that you already can do with Eyes in your native environment. Okay, so we'll keep working on autonomous as well when we have exciting features in autonomous that will come soon. The first one that I would like to share and talk about is the enhanced test generation. We want to generate multiple page test flows from plain English descriptions of intent and goals. Again, the idea is to take test cases, BDD scenarios or such, and translate it into executable tests from a prompt to executable tests. This is one part of a bigger feature or bigger initiative. The other one is the test case generation. We want to generate test cases directly from requirements like docs, PRDs, Figma files or such. And the idea is to take the requirements and going all the way from the requirement into executable tests, while in between you will be able to get and manage your test cases. So the idea is to have a full coverage of all this cycle, again, from requirements to executable tests. Another very requested initiative that we're working on is autonomous for native mobile apps. The idea is to use all the capabilities of autonomous in native mobile apps as well, to create, maintain, and execute end-to-end tests tailored specifically for native mobile applications. Again, having all the capabilities that we have now in autonomous, whether it's the DLM, the deterministic language model, the NLP and such, and this should assist you in accelerating mobile testing and enhancing app quality. We are very excited towards these features, and we truly believe that you are going to be excited as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Paz. We're now going to move over to Q&A. If you do have any questions, please put them over in the Q&A tab there. So one here, a lot of teams are already using Storybook with visual checks. You've got the visual testing tab that gets open there. And with that, what makes the Applitools approach different than what's already there in Storybook? And so I'll answer a bit of this, and Paz, you can back me up with anything that I miss. But first of all, the visual AI is significantly more accurate than a pixel by pixel result. When you're using the visual testing that's in Storybook, it's actually chromatic, and there's some sliders that you have to sort of manually adjust to get the results that you're looking for. Sometimes you have to continuously go through those. Applitools has native algorithms built in for different match levels. So strict layout, dynamic content. So with like dynamic text content, we can validate specific text patterns like currencies, phone numbers, account numbers, or you can put in your own custom regex to do that. So this all helps to avoid a lot of false positives, or triggering some even having false negatives in some cases, missing bugs that'll go through. Another aspect of it is like test maintenance. So when you're doing the Storybook test in Applitools, when you're running them from the Storybook add-on, you can go into the Applitools dashboard, and actually when you accept the change there, it'll look for the same component changes across all of the stories and accept those in bulk. So you're not going through every single story every time. And then there's just the aspect of being able to run Applitools Eyes test in all of your other testing frameworks, so Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, so that you're in the same interface across all of your end-to-end testing as well as your component testing. And that includes not just web, mobile. We can also do desktop apps with Eyes. We can do PDF, docs, any of those things. And Paz, did I miss anything else?
One more thing is about the browsers and all the devices that we support. Actually, we have vast coverage of multiple browsers, so you can run your component testing with full coverage of all the possible browsers and devices.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, another one just about the Figma plugin there. Could we share some examples of how the Figma plugin helps catch issues earlier before design changes get to development? Brandon, I wonder if you have any examples of that?
Yeah, I think I briefly mentioned this as far as one of the use cases. So I had a customer reach out to me about, hey, we really like the work that you guys are doing with our QA team. How can we add visual regression testing to our design process? So what happened is somebody went in and made a change to like a button that was supposed to be rounded, and it had a ripple effect. Right. So what ended up happening is they actually released bad components to their developers, and they started developing against this. So what our customers are doing now, who have this type of use case where they want to do regression testing within their own design process, they can detect those issues before it even hits development, right? So that's one way. And then the other way is just doing that implementation to design compare. I mean, it's already hit development, but we're catching those before it even gets released to their staging or their QA or even production. And so we can do that validation as early as we possibly can, right when the developer gets the design and they actually implement it. We can do that validation right there. So those two use cases are how we can help there.
Awesome, thanks, Brandon. One other question here about the new features. What kind of impact do teams usually see first, or do you expect them to see first with specifically the new Storybook add-on, the Figma plugin, some of these dashboard issues? Kate, I wonder if you could start us off with that one.
Of course. Most of this, like everything that we do, is designed to drive efficiency within your team. The goal is to make you faster, more accurate, and more productive in your day-to-day. So everything we release kind of has that lens on it. We see that like anything else, every time you try something new, there is a day or two that it takes getting used to it. That's why at the beginning we talked about the team, because one of the key differences with Applitools compared to other solutions on the market is you have a full service team behind you. You have people there who can give you recommendations on how to embed this in your workflow, especially when we're talking about cross multiple teams. Lots of these features affect multiple teams. It's transitioning information between different groups. That's where we see most processes fall down. And that's why we've got teams to advise you on how to not just implement the software changes, but actually implement the workflow changes into your team and your environment to make sure that you're maximizing the potential time savings and efficiency you and your team can have. So really excited about the technical aspect of the features, but I think you're not getting the full advantage if you don't take advantage of asking about how you can also improve your workflow as a result.
Awesome. Great points. So that concludes our session for today. Big thanks to Kate, Paz, Brandon, and Ron for sharing insights today. If you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out to your customer success specialist. They can hook you up with the product team. Paz and his team are extremely responsive and open to any requests for enhancements that you may have. You will receive an email tomorrow with a link to the on-demand recording and session materials included in the links to the features and resources we covered today. We appreciate you spending time with us, and we hope the session gave you a clear look at how we're continuing to innovate across Applitools, from new capabilities to people driving them forward. And at Applitools, our mission is to help every team achieve quality that scales through visual AI, whether you're trying to reduce maintenance, accelerate feedback loops, or bridge the gap between design and testing. Now, if you're already using Applitools, again, reach out to your account team to explore how you can put these latest features into practice. And if you're just getting started, we'd love to show you how visual AI can help elevate your quality across your entire development lifecycle with a personalized demo. So book that now by clicking on the link below or visiting applitools.info/2QX. Probably just click on the link. That'd be better. Again, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.